So I'll start here with the vocabulary review at the very beginning. So tandem means at last or finally. Bellum is war. Manere is to remain or wait or stay. Laudare is to praise. Medius means middle. So for example, in medias res means going into the middle of the thing, which you get as a term used in English literature. If you said, I am sitting in medio foro, that would mean in the middle of the forum, things like that. Then videre is to see. Vester means your, and it's of you plural. Etiam means also or even. It's like anche in Italian. Sum means I am. Bene means well. It's the adverb form from bonus, meaning good. Patria is a country or a homeland or a fatherland, something like that. Cur is a question word meaning why. A or X means out of, and it takes ablative. Quid means what. So it's a question word meaning what. Discedere is to depart or leave. Fessus means tired. A locus is a place. Pulcher is beautiful. Ludere is to play. I put discedere there twice, so you can leave that out. Igitur means therefore. Terra is land or earth or ground. Murus is a wall. Multus means much, or in the plural, it means many. And rex regis is a king. And then underneath that, you can see, I'll delete that there so there's more space. So here you can see, there we go, a table, which is the future tense for the third conjugation. So remember, the third conjugation, it's not the endings that you'd use for the first and second conjugation. It's a different set of endings. Okay, so let's use regere, for example. So the stem is reg. So you can use that for all of them. Okay, and then the endings are am, and then ace. Now this requires a long e, which I'm going to take from pages here because I can't do it on Google Docs for some reason. So there we go. Am, ace. Sorry, I just need to make that the same size. Okay. So am, ace, et, amus, atis, ent. And in English, the meaning would be I will rule, right? And then you singular will rule, and then he or she will rule, and then we will rule, and then you plural will rule, and then they will rule. Okay, and then on the next page there are some recap questions. It's a bit bigger. So which conjugations have the future tense endings bo, bis, bit, bimus, bitis, bunt? And the answer is first and second. So verbs like amare and verbs like monere. Which conjugations have the other set of future tense endings? Am, ace, et, amus, atis, ent. The answer here is the other ones. So third, fourth, and mixed. So verbs like regere, verbs like audire, and verbs like capere. Number 3, when you meet a new Latin word in a dictionary or a vocabulary list, how can you tell what conjugation it is? Well, you have to look at the first 2 principal parts. Okay? Because if those first 2 principal parts end in o and are, like amo, amare, that's first. If they end in ao and ere, that's second. If they end in o and ere, that's third. If it ends io and ire, that's fourth. And if they end io and ere, then that's mixed. Okay, so you have to look at those first 2 principal parts, which are in effect the first person singular present tense and the infinitive. Right? So that's really, that is what you are looking at. Okay? Now, how does the verb to be go in the future tense? Okay, now this actually rhymes with the first set of endings that we met for the future. So it goes ero, eris, erit, erimus, eritis, erunt. Okay, just like that. Okay. Right, so ero, eris, erit, erimus, eritis, erunt. Okay, dormiet means he or she will sleep. So how would you say he or she sleeps now in the present tense? The answer is dormit, right? Dormi or dormis, dormit. So in other words, the present tense and the future tense here are just one letter different. There is only one letter, one vowel different between present and future. And that is the fact that the future has the E in it, whereas the present doesn't. Okay, so this lesson, we're just looking at a few different words that we have to learn about. There's no grand theme, it's just a few little bits and pieces. So the first thing is these two words, nemo and nihil. Now these are both irregular nouns. Nemo means no one, and nihil means nothing. Nemo is a third declension noun, and it declines in a quite strange way. It goes nemo, then accusative neminem, genitive nullius, dative nemini, and ablative nullo. Okay. Nihil, on the other hand, is a neuter noun, so it looks the same in the nominative and accusative, and I suppose, in theory, vocative, although I doubt you would ever see that. And there are other forms for the other cases, but we're not going to meet them right now. So, that's nemo and nihil. The next thing to look at is two other words, nonne and num. Okay, and these are question words. Okay, so we've already seen in Latin that you can put ne at the end of the first word in a sentence, and that turns the sentence into a kind of yes or no question. Also, you can put a question word like quis, cur, ubi, quando, quo modo, whatever, at the beginning of a sentence, and that, makes the sentence into a specific question. So instead of just yes or no, it's a kind of a who question, or a why question, or a what question. Now we're actually meeting a third way of asking questions. If you're asking a question that expects the answer yes, then you begin it with nonne, which means surely. Literally, this is just ne stuck at the end of known. So it literally means, is it not the case that whatever? On the other hand, if you want to ask a question which expects the answer no, you begin it with the word num, which we could translate into English as surely something is not the case. Okay, so for example, you love your mother, don't you, is expecting the answer yes. So in Latin, the question begins with nonne matrem tuam amas. Another way of translating that would be, surely you love your mother. This second one, you are not afraid of the water, are you? This one is expecting the answer no, so it begins with num aquam times. And again, this one you could translate into English with surely not. So, surely you are not afraid of the water. So that's the second thing. Third thing is the word et. Right, now we've seen the word et many times, it means and, but sometimes you see the word et repeated. It appears twice in a sentence. And when that happens, you should translate the first et as both, and the second et as and. So for example, here, both the boys and the girls, et pueri et puellae, or et puelle, were hurrying into the temple, in templum festinabant. Okay, so those are just a few small words that you need to just be aware of. So let's now try some examples. Let's try a bit of practice. So, cur in agris ambulabas. So, why is cur? were you, ambulabas, were you singular, walking in agris, in the fields? That's in plus ablative. Then, number 2, dormies ne. Okay, so the ne makes it a question. Dormies is the future tense, right? Dormiam, dormies, dormiet, as opposed to the present, which is dormio, dormis, dormit. So, will you, singular, sleep in urbe magna, in the big city, or in the large city? Now, number 3 begins with num, and this is the question word that expects the answer no. So, surely something is not the case. Okay, so surely curatis is also future, so it means surely you, plural, will not run. Right, the present tense would be curitis with an I. Surely you will not run in the fields. Another way of doing that would be to say you, plural, will not run in the fields, will you? Right, that would do the same thing. In number 4, we have no net, which expects the answer yes. So surely, civis, surely the citizen, discessit, departed, a nave, from the ship. And again, you could also phrase this as the citizen departed from the ship, didn't he? That'll be another way of saying the same thing. Now here you have, in number 5, you have et repeated. So et magister, et poeta. So that in English would be both the teacher and the poet. Legent, now legere is to read, and here it's in the future. The present tense would be legunt, but legent is the future, will read. And then pueris is dative plural, 2 or 4 the boys. Okay. Then number 6, ubi means where in a question. So where were you working? Laborabatis imperfect tense. And then agricole is vocative case here, farmers. Now number 7, quis means who. So who, and reget is future tense. The present would be regit with an I. So who will rule? And then the object is incolas, the inhabitants, accusative plural, of the country. So patria is genitive singular. And then in number 8, nonne, this is one of these questions expecting the answer yes. So it means surely the teacher, magister. Now terret is present tense, because it's second conjugation, so the future would be terrebit. So the teacher is terrifying pueros et puellas, the boys and the girls. Another way of saying the same thing would be the teacher is terrifying the boys and the girls, isn't he? Now number 9, you have the repeated et, so we say both the boys and the girls, et pueri et puelle. Habent, that means they have. It's not future tense because it's second conjugation, so the future would be habebunt. And then the object is vulnera, which means wounds. It's the neuter plural of vulnus vulneris, which is a third declension neuter noun meaning a wound. And then last of those is number 10. Quid means what? And then rex dedit means the king gave. So what did the king give? And then viro noto is dative singular, to the famous or well-known man. Okay, and then you can see there are some English to Latin sentences here. Okay, some English to Latin. And the first one, you've got the farmer. Now I'm going to do this in pages and then paste it into Google Docs so that I can do the accents. So the farmer, hang on, the farmer, agricola, and then we want loves, which is amat, both his wife and his daughter, so we need to do the repeated et uxorem, et filiam, accusative case. But then we also want doesn't he. So this is a question expecting the answer yes, so we start it with nonne. right? And the one other thing I would do is, in Latin, you normally put the main verb at the end. So I would move amat to the end, okay? So that would be one way of doing it. Non ne agricola et uxorem et filiam amat. Now, number 2, will the woman. Now, this is an open question, so I would just put ne at the end of the first word. So, femina ne, or mulier ne. So, will the woman hurry, so this is future tense, festina bit, into the city, so in plus accusative, in urbem. Of the enemy is genitive plural, so hostium. And again, I would just move the main verb to the end of the sentence. So you would get something like that. And then number 3, will the leader, okay, this is again an open question, so I would say dux ne. Will he wait? Manebit. Wait for takes a direct object in the accusative case. Wait for the remaining soldiers. So keteros milites. And then I think, yeah, that's the end of the sentence. So I would just move manebit to the end. So I'd get something like that. And then in number 4, the young man. So the young man is juvenis. But notice the question is, he hasn't read the book, has he? So this expects the answer no. So we begin with num. So num juvenis has read, right? So legit, perfect tense, has read the book, librum. And that's the end of the sentence. So num juvenis legit librum. Okay, so because to form the perfect tense of legere, you just take the third principal part, legi, and you add the perfect ending, legi, legisti, legit, for the third person singular. Number 5, we will overcome the enemies soon, won't we? So this is expecting the answer yes. So nonne, we will overcome, superabimus. The enemy is hostes, and then soon is mox. And then again, I would just move the main verb to the end, and that would be my answer. Now, why? Why is kur, and then we want both the tired man and the slave girl, so we need to repeat et. So et vir fessus, et ancilla, standing near the river. So standing is stant, they stand. And then near the river, proper plus accusative, proper flumen. And again, I would just move that main verb stant to the end of the sentence. Okay, and then number 7, where? That's ubi. Will you place? Now, to place is ponere, which is third conjugation. So you need to do pon, and then the endings are am, ace, et, amos, atis, ent. Now this is you, so this could be you singular or you plural. We don't know. Let's do you singular. So pones, or you could do, as I say, you could do ponatis if you prefer. Now we want the body, which is corpus. Now corpus is the same in the accusative as in the nominative because it's neuter. And then of the dead leader. So ducis, genitive singular of dux, and then mortui, masculine genitive singular of mortuus, agreeing with ducis. And then all we need to do now is just move that verb to the end of the sentence. So either pones or ponatis would be fine there. Okay, and number 8, will the slaves? Well, this is an open question, so servi ne. Will the slaves send? Okay, so mittere is to send. It's third conjugation, so the endings are am, ace, et, amos, atis, ent. So servi ne mittent, the poet, poeta, but we need poetam because it's the object, accusative case. To the king, ad plus accusative, ad regem. Okay, you wouldn't use the dative here because it's kind of sending is like a verb of motion. You send something, add a place or add a person. So again, that's a question, and all I would do now is move mittent, the main verb, to the end of the sentence. Okay, and then number 9, what have the slave girls prepared? Okay, so what is quid? The slave girls is ancille. They have prepared, so you take parare, but you take the third principal part, paravi, and then you add the third person plural perfect ending, which is paraverunt. For the woman, femina, but put her in the dative case, femine. And I think that's everything, so now I would just put paraverunt at the end of the sentence. And yep, that's fine. And then in number 10, the enemy is hostes, right? Even though it's singular in English, you use a plural noun in Latin, hostes. The enemy will not overcome. Now, this is a question. They won't overcome the Roman citizens, will they? So this is a question expecting the answer no. So let's start with num. Num hostes, they will overcome superabunt the Roman citizens. Citizens are cives, and Roman is Romani, but here we want Romanos because it's the object. Okay, and then all we need to do is move superabunt to the end of the sentence. And that's our answer. Okay, and then last thing is that there's a bit of vocabulary review here. So numquam means never, ancilla, ancilla is a slave girl, oppugnare is to attack, ducere is to lead, a senex is an old man, contra is against and it takes accusative, iratus means angry, mons means a mountain, movere is to move, in can mean in plus ablative or into plus accusative, and in could be replaced by on, into could be replaced by onto, festinare is to hurry, templum is a temple, tutus means safe, cantare is to sing, ubi means where, maniopere means greatly or very much, dare is to give, a nauta is a sailor, bonus means good, portare is to carry, ne just makes the sentence a question when you put it at the end of the first word in the sentence, a proilium is a battle, sed means but, and then puer is a boy, and then ubi means where, but we've already had that, so you can ignore that one. And that is the end of the booklet.